What's up, everybody? Let's talk Jets Radio, Part 7 training camp preview, talking linebackers. Position group that probably has the biggest question mark on the Jets roster right now, just as far as what the Jets are going to do with Kwon Alexander. Do they bring him back? Do they look at another veteran option like a Miles Jack type? Or do they look in-house at guys like Nasruldeen, Sherwood, and Zari Barnes, who is a sixth-round pick? I think all three of those guys could, certainly fill that void in some capacity. But you definitely like to have the veteran back in the room. He knows the solid defense, going back to San Francisco and again last year. Certainly outplayed his contract. He signed relatively cheap. I think it was pretty much veteran minimum, if I remember right. He was coming off the injuries, signed cheap, outplayed the contract. Certainly understandable if he's expecting a certain pay increase. Now, how comfortable the Jets feel in giving him that, or if it's multiple years, certainly I can understand if there's some hesitancy there. And you also have Quinn Williams, you got to get his contract done. Rodgers restructure. Hopefully a Dalvin Cook contract in there too. So you wonder just how much cap space they do have. I know we always say it's a myth. But spending that money versus the alternative, you wonder just how much they feel there's a drop off with a guy like Jamie and Sherwood, who Saleh has praised several times for his football IQ, his ability to read plays and diagnose the offense and things like that. So, you wonder, is this now the time, third year, converted safety, a guy who could play quick? Is this the opportunity for Sherwood to step up? Is Zari Barnes as a sixth-round pick? Is he ready to play early on in his rookie year? What do you get out of Nasruldeen? If you sign a veteran, that could potentially be his roster spot because I don't think they're going to keep six. So a lot of questions at linebacker. Again, the two known commodities, Quincy Williams, glad he got his contract, well-deserved, great run stuffer. Probably not a guy you really want out there all that much on, third and long, covering tight ends and running backs, but he wasn't a liability last year. He certainly improved in coverage last year. And then, CJ Mosley, the big money guy, he's got to be a little bit better. He was good last year, all pro, Pro Bowl. Hard to complain with that. Certainly the expectation of the player that I think we all wanted to see from Baltimore hasn't really been there yet. He's been good, hasn't really lived up to the contract. It just always feels, I always say it feels like there's just one or two things every game between like a blown coverage, a missed tackle, a penalty, the offsides against Buffalo. There's just one thing it seems like every game that comes back to bite the Jets that he does. But otherwise, he's been a solid linebacker for the team. You just want to see him be a little bit more consistent and not give up those big chunk plays that really hurt the team, especially late in games. But otherwise, I think those five are probably set right now. Again, like I said, if you do bring in a veteran, it's probably Nasruldeen unless you're keeping six. The sixth guy right now is probably Chaz Surratt, former third-round pick of the Vikings. Converted quarterback. He played 2 years quarterback in North Carolina, so he's a little bit late to the position at linebacker. So, at least from what I've read, I haven't, watched much of Chaz Surratt tape, but from what I've read, apparently the big knock on him, I guess, is still, understanding how to, diagnose plays, and instinctually, I guess he's a little bit slow at the position, but he's got some athleticism, and apparently he brings some thump as a hitter, so maybe a practice squad candidate to watch. They also have 3 undrafted free agents at linebacker that are going to be out there, so if they don't bring in a veteran early on, this could be an opportunity for one of those guys to maybe separate themselves and stand out. Otherwise, I do hope this gets done with Kwon Alexander. You want to have as many options as possible, and I can't imagine it would break the bank to get it done. So hopefully it's done soon.